Rerratic Studio presents Unfuck Yourself, by Gray John Bishop. Please note that this is a summary.
Chapter 1, In the Beginning. This is a conversational slap from the universe to wake you up to your true potential, to unfuck yourself and get spectacularly into your life. Have you ever felt like a hamster on a wheel, furiously churning your way through life but somehow going nowhere? A small voice constantly tells you that you're lazy, foolish, or not good enough. You won't even realize how much it affects you. By it, you'll spend your day working to overcome stresses and strains, trying to live your life, and facing the resignation that if you can't get off this damned wheel, maybe you'll never get where you want in life, maybe that happiness you want, that weight you want to lose, or that career or relationship you crave will remain just out of reach. These pages are for people who self-defeat, doubt and deceit restrict and stain daily existence. This is the universe's way of telling you to unfuck yourself and live brilliantly. Let's get started. You chat to others and to yourself every day. You may say, I don't talk to myself. Most of the talks you have each day are with yourself, enjoyed in your thoughts. Whether you're introverted or extroverted, creative or practical, you talk to you. You do it while working out, talking to you. You do it while working, eating, reading, writing, strolling, texting, weeping, fighting, bargaining, planning, praying, meditating, and having sex, alone and with others. Even in your sleep. Now is the time. You're not insane. Maybe we're all nuts. Welcome to the freak show, we all do it. Over 50,000 thoughts every day, according to research. Consider all the things you'd rather not say or strive to overcome or beat. We have little or no control over spontaneous and reactive ideas, but we can choose which to value. Not preloaded. The newest research in neuroscience and psychology shows that the way you communicate affects your life. Professor Will Hart of the University of Alabama conducted 4 tests using positive, negative, and neutral events. People who characterized neutral events as continuous felt more optimistic, whereas those who reported negative events in the same manner felt more gloomy. The vocabulary you choose to describe your situations affects how you view, experience, and engage in them, and how you deal with your life and major and minor difficulties. Since ancient times, people have recognized that what we say affects how we feel. Wittgenstein, Heidegger, and Gadamer acknowledged the value of language. Wittgenstein remarked, the grammar of language harmonizes thinking and reality. Positive self-talk improves happiness, confidence, productivity, and more, according to research. Plus, according to Professor Hart's findings, it's a cornerstone to a happy, successful existence. The contrary is also true. Negative self-talk can make us sad and helpless. It can amplify little issues and generate new ones. Your self-talk is sabotaging you in ways you can't conceive. Let's clarify, even though this book is about utilizing language to enhance your life, I don't recommend positive thinking or personal affirmations. We won't be covering such topics, which have been done to death with varied degrees of effectiveness. I won't urge you to be a tiger to unleash your inner beast. You're not a tiger, duh. I'm too Scottish for this. Being ordered to do these things is like being force-fed maple syrup with candy cane pieces. No thanks. Sorry, positives, but we're changing course. This book is meant to offer you a real leg up that feels good and can boost your true potential. The difference between success and failure. If human emotions largely result from thinking, then one may appreciably control one's feelings by controlling one's thoughts, or by changing the internalized sentences, or self-talk, with which one largely created the feeling in the first place. Albert Ellis, one of the founders of contemporary psychology, is credited with saying that Ellis discovered that how we perceive and discuss our experiences affects how we feel about them. In other words, our ideas and emotions often sleep together. Ellis discovered that our thoughts are frequently wholly illogical. Think about how often you've said to yourself things like I'm so dumb. I always screw things up. My life is over, or a derogatory statement about an experience like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. If you've ever fully overreacted to anything that, in retrospect, hardly registered on the importance scale, raise your hand. Okay, drop your hand, people are looking at you, and you're beginning to look stupid. If you take a step back, you'll see that right before that irrational overreaction, you had a burst of crazy self-talk, bang, and off you go, being a wonderful person. Even if some of the things we say and do aren't usually very logical, we nevertheless appear to do them. Furthermore, we seldom really realize what we say and do until it's too late. In addition, we rarely realize the emotional scars left by even the mildest negative self-talk or what we are leaving behind. You see, negative self-talk need not necessarily be overt, it may be subtle but just as harmful. You can be working on something and think, this is so difficult. What if I can't do it in time? You stress about all the many ways you may mess up, which makes you feel uneasy or concerned. Negative self-talk can occasionally trigger feelings of rage, grief, or irritation that show up in distinct or seemingly unrelated circumstances. Self-talk like this doesn't help you live a better life. The more times you tell yourself something is difficult, the more difficult it truly appears to be. Unfortunately, we often aren't aware of how negative thoughts impact our mood and behavior in any given moment and, as a result, we end up doing, or not doing, things our rational minds want us to do because we are constantly listening to a steady stream of our automatic inner thoughts and have grown so accustomed to the critical voice in our heads. Consider your least favorite daily tasks for a moment. It's likely that you fear them the most because you have imagined them to be more difficult than they actually are. When they genuinely require little time and effort, routine tasks like folding clothes and unloading the dishwasher are occasionally avoided. When there are enough of these tiny, persistent things around, it's simple to lump them in with the bigger, more significant ones, to the point where we feel overburdened or worn out by life. Why in our life do we reject certain things? We have a private discussion that is strongly grounded in disapproval regarding such types of chores. You'll understand what I mean if you look for your stuckness in your own life. You've got a major self-talk roadblock. How language changes our lives. The way we speak has an impact beyond the present. It has the potential to absorb and permeate our subconscious, altering our long-term ideas and actions. The way we communicate to ourselves and others has a direct influence on how we view life in the real world and how that perception affects how we act in the present. At your own risk, disregard your perceptions. Living under the delusion that you don't experience reality is far worse. If you complain sometimes about how unfair life is, you'll begin to behave accordingly, seeing slights where none exist or, as research has shown, exerting less effort in your work since you already know it won't help. Your reality will soon reflect the biased perspective. The individual who, on the other hand, believes that success is just around the corner will not only work tirelessly to obtain it but will also feel alive and inspired while doing so, acting on that underlying belief in success. To be clear, believing in your ability to succeed is just one aspect of success, though it is a crucial one. The journey will be a little tougher, but it is possible to do amazing things without that belief. Read on if you're concerned that you lack that sort of personal conviction. The Stoic philosopher and former Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius stated, Here is a guideline to remember in the future, when anything tempts you to feel bitter, not this is misfortune, but to endure this worthily is good fortune, stated Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher who later became the Roman emperor. We have complete control over how we approach and communicate with our difficulties. They may cause problems or serve as stepping stones. They have the ability to support or lift us. In truth, Stoic thinkers like Aurelius held the view that we are completely unaffected by external occurrences. With our brains, we construct our own reality. Reject your perception of injury, and the actual injury will go away. Think about that sentence for a moment. How open-minded are you to the idea that the reason your life is the way it is, rather than the gravity of your circumstances or situation, is the weight of negative self-talk that drags you down? That more directly influences what you believe you can and cannot achieve than the fact of life itself is some subconscious reaction? You'll keep receiving the same result if you keep looking outside of yourself to your situation and frantically trying to change it. No strength, happiness, or life. The best case scenario is a seesaw of achievement and setback, joy and hopelessness. Your situation could remain the same from time to time or it might stagnate and crystallize. What if the goal you're striving for, The thing you're positive would improve your life and give you greater confidence, doesn't materialize. Then what? What occurs in your life between now and the time it does arrive, even if it does, someday? This book will encourage you to look inside yourself for the solution rather than outside. You already have the solution, there is no need for you to go elsewhere. People spend their lives waiting for the cavalry without recognizing they are the cavalry, as I have often told my customers. Your life is patiently waiting for you to arrive. Retrain your brain, one word at a time. This whole discussion of our subconsciousness is not simply psychobabble. Researchers have shown that our ideas may really alter the way our brains are physically structured. The concept known as neuroplasticity is redefining how we perceive the human mind. The neuronal connections in our brains that govern how we think and act are continually being reorganized as we learn and experience new things throughout life. The wonderful thing is that we can deliberately alter these paths by how we focus our thoughts. And using deliberate self-talk is the simplest approach to control such ideas. The conversational style that cuts through and seizes authority over your life. We may employ strong, aggressive language over time to bring about long-lasting change in our lives, just as we do when we repeat an action until it becomes automatic. Don't break out the candy canes just yet, it's more than that, you're influencing the biochemistry of your brain. By controlling our ideas, we may decide our emotions. We can mold them. By controlling our ideas, we may decide our emotions. By being aware of and careful with our words and the language we use, we may influence those ideas. Your fundamental tolerance of your existing thinking and willingness to alter it will determine a great deal of this. Making the decision to speak in a constructive rather than destructive manner is the first step in the process. We may genuinely alter how we view and interact with the world by adopting the proper language and framing our difficulties in a more understandable way. All that create your own reality bullshit you've read and heard about? Millions of people all across the world are already doing it, so it's not only feasible. The finest aspect is that they are not just inventing it but also putting it into practice and living it. Never forget that how you fundamentally react to and engage with life's situations will have the largest impact on how they play out, regardless of how hard, urgent, or stressful they may be. Once more, the solution is inside you rather than outside of you. Our world is built on the core principles of how we communicate, consider ideas, and ultimately interpret our surroundings. Start the process of having the kinds of discussions, with yourself and others, that truly form the world you wish to live in. I often relate to my own daily issues as opportunities, which is a straightforward approach to reframe things. They immediately transform into tools in my life that I utilize to learn and grow. Instead of being my normal annoyed and dissatisfied self, I get interested in them and interact with them. Assertive versus narrative. What the hell does it take to make one's own reality? By changing your self-talk from a flowing narrative, where you talk about yourself, others, and life, engaging in a dialogue of opinion and judgment, to assertive, where you set aside all of the default noise and express your authority right now. When we talk about what we're going to do or who we're going to be, one of the first mistakes we make is, I won't even begin to discuss should or try. Unconsciously, we are already planning when it will occur, and it most definitely isn't now. The fact that New Year's resolutions typically involve language to describe what we are going to accomplish, i.e. later, is one of the reasons we break them so frequently. All too frequently, they start off by telling us what we're not going to do, which makes us excited initially but depletes our energy when the inevitable time comes and reality hits you square in the face. You'll be left standing there by yourself in the enormous void the conduct you're ostensibly ending has created in your life. Those are the times in life when your inner dialogue becomes wildly out of control. What if you promised yourself to save money but now the jacket you can't live without is suddenly on sale? Or what if you vowed to lose weight but are craving pizza? What should one do when old thinking habits resurface and excitement starts to wane? What other plans do you have? Self-talk that is assertive stakes a claim for the now, for the here and now. When you start using language like I am, I embrace, I accept, or I claim, rather than the declarative forms like I will, or I'm going to. Using in the moment, aggressive language has a significant, in the moment impact that is both physiological and psychological. The distinction between I am relentless and I shall be relentless is significant. One of those assertions directly affects you at this time, while the other reads more like a prediction of what will happen in the future. You'll need to practice assertive speaking in your daily interactions and be aware of when you're utilizing the broader narrative style of speaking in order to achieve all of this.